I'm Lazar Demin. I'm one of the co-founders of Smart Harvest. Smart Harvest is started as a consulting company. My co-founder and I have been in the Internet of Things field for coming on a decade now, maybe even a little bit more for him. So at first we were just doing consulting. When we stumbled upon Helium, we were like, wow, these guys figured out the chicken and egg problem of a lot of hardware and a lot of networks. It's always this tension between supply and demand. When we were younger, we were like a little naive and we were like, if we build it, they will come, like that fun movie. Turns out it doesn't work that way always. So we were really interested in how Helium was able to create incentives to create a supply, and then that would drive demand. We thought that was a great initiative that they were doing, and we wanted to be part of that. So here we are a few years later. So right now, Smart Harvest contributes to the Helium network by providing hotspots for the IoT network. A hotspot is something that just a regular person can install in their home or office. They provide miles of wireless network coverage for lower power IoT devices. In return for providing this coverage, they get rewarded in tokens based on data transmissions and how many other hotspots witness the coverage. So we've just started shipping in late 2023. This is just the beginning. We have ambitions to be the largest provider of Helium IoT hotspots in Canada and then hopefully North America. So we had a lot of history in IoT devices, making hardware. Making an IoT device is actually kind of difficult. You have to deal with the hardware, you have to deal with an enclosure, you have to deal with the software running on the device, you have to have some cloud software, updates, reporting, that kind of thing. And then you usually have to have another piece of software that either runs on a phone or a website to set up the device. So that's already challenging. On top of that, you actually have to make the thing. So there's a lot that goes into designing it, designing for manufacturability, and then actually making it. These were all things that we've had a lot of experience with before. One of the new wrinkles here was working with the blockchain. So when we were designing the app to onboard the hotspots, there's like a lot of interaction there with the Solana blockchain. That was new and an exciting technical challenge for us. In general, Helium, one of the reasons why we really wanted to join Helium was they decided to move away from these more high horsepower hotspots, and they literally called it light hotspots. And that's part of our core philosophy. We like using lower powered things. So we're like, why do you need a jet engine if just like a kayak will work? And we thought that was a great way for us to get in. The thing is that it turned out that Helium needed to do their whole migration to the Solana blockchain. That took a little longer than was expected. So we had quite a bit of delays there in terms of the launch date and in terms of rewriting our onboarding app. So I guess it was timing that was the main challenge. It's really hard to say what the future of decentralized wireless infrastructure is right now. We're obsessed with this idea, and I think that it just strikes a lot of chords with just our experience in IoT and just our experience just being users of wireless networks. In Canada, at least, we have a few big players that kind of have cornered the market. They're these giant, massive companies. If you need support from them, it's generally very hard to get through. They charge kind of what they want. So we really believe in this concept of people running this infrastructure if they can, operating it, and then gaining the benefit from it. In terms of the wireless part, Helium's done a great job in the States. They've launched Helium Mobile. They've partnered with, I believe, T-Mobile, and they're basically providing unlimited data plans for cell phones for, I think, $20 a month, which is great. It's a great step forward. In general, this whole idea of decentralized physical infrastructure networks has really taken off. It's one of the narratives that's hot in crypto right now. There are things like networks that use spare GPU time for rendering things. There's distributed weather stations. It's really a great movement so that the infrastructure of the future isn't concentrated in the hands of the few, but in the hands of the many. How can you get started with helium mining? The Obviously, the easiest thing to do is just buy one and jump in. If you're more curious, you want to learn how it works, there's a lot. Helium has done a really, really good job of creating kind of informational content on their website. The Helium Discord is really active. They hold community calls once a month that are really well attended. The Helium Foundation is a nonprofit organization that kind of governs the Helium network. They do a really good job of kind of explaining where they're going, how they want to improve the network. If you're more into research, that's kind of the path that I would recommend. If you're one of those people that rolls up their sleeves and just dives right in, which I tend to be, buy a hotspot, set it up, kind of see what's going on, check out what devices there are on the market that use the Helium IoT network. There's a really cool one. I think it's a passive tracker. So it doesn't need batteries. You just like stick it on something and it uses the Helium network to figure out where it is. So it's a batteryless way to have GPS tracking of an asset. A great story with networks like Helium. So Helium runs a LoRaWAN network. It's a LoRa radio, and the WAN part is for wide area network. One of the great stories we heard about LoRa was very simple. It's just a mousetrap. So they set up this mousetrap. When it's closed, it sends out a signal that it's closed. There's a mouse that's been captured, and the technician knows to kind of go and reset it, remove the rodent. And it actually helped this service company save a ton of money, because before, drivers would just go to every single location, have a look at them even if they're still loaded. But now they know exactly which ones to go and where. So it's an interesting, it's literally a better mousetrap. It's an interesting way of using this type of technology that's, people are very focused on these super high-tech solutions and inventing, something really, really new. But I really like that story because it's a great reinvention of something that works really well already. So there's two main ways to use Helium. You can help build the network by putting up a hotspot, or you can use a device that communicates using the Helium network. It's really good for low power IoT devices. This can be anything from sensors to any kind of data reporting. One of the interesting things that we've always liked has been on the agriculture side. Farmers can deploy a hotspot. They can deploy, moisture sensors, like solar sensors, weather stations, and kind of figure out, okay, my crop is doing this, my crop is doing that. There's a lot of applications where you want to get this data, but you don't want to be paying like $10 a month for cellular service. With Helium, I believe it's something on the order of dollars per year to get daily or maybe even hourly sensor data. I think helium mining is worth it. Right now, it really depends on a factor that's a little outside of your control and one that's more in your control. You can't really control how many other hotspots are in around your location. You kind of need like this Goldilocks number of hotspots. You want enough such that your hotspot can communicate to other ones, get its beacons witnessed and witness other people's beacons, but you don't want it to be so congested that the rewards are scaled down for that area. So that's you live in a certain place. It's a little bit outside of your control of what your neighbors do. What is in your control is how you place your hotspot. So the better you place your hotspot, the stronger your signal will be. You'll be able to receive more transmissions from other hotspots. Other hotspots will hear your transmissions too. That really impacts your rewards. We always say place it as high as possible, as unobstructed as possible. If it were a person, you would want it to have as much view of the sky as possible. In terms of the profitability of mining, right now it's it's not as profitable as it was before. Before they really incentivized you to build this network. The rewards were crazy. It was on the order, some people were making thousands a month. That's no longer the case, and I think you need to adjust your expectations down. However, I do think that even in today, I think it's something like 50 cents that you can make, an average hotspot can make in IoT tokens. And then with the network growing, which we anticipate that it will, we anticipate that the tokens will grow in value as well. So you can look at it from today's prices, but I think it makes more sense to anticipate growth. If you believe in this vision like we do, then I think it does still make sense. That's a great question. So we are a newer and maybe smaller provider of hotspots. We've decided, just based on our previous experience, to start with the North American market only. So we're focusing just on making it really, really good for users in Canada and the States. We ship from distribution centers in Canada to Canadian addresses and a distribution center in the States to US addresses. So it goes as quickly as possible and there's no duty. This is our first product. We want to work with our users to figure out what's really important to them, how we can improve the experience. And we're here for the long term. We really care about Helium. We believe in the vision of decentralized physical infrastructure networks like Helium. We think that there's no reason that people shouldn't own pieces of infrastructure and gain the benefit of it. And we are willing to kind of iterate and work with our customers and just see what's important and provide better and better products.